Hey everyone, good afternoon. It is Sunday and we are live for our Sunday weekly warm up. We are usually exclusive to our private Facebook group over at teachbettergroup.com, but we are changing it up for the month of May. We are celebrating Teacher Appreciation Week. We're celebrating those of you that are subscribers to the Teach Better TV YouTube channel, and we are here to answer your questions live. So if you're an educator, if you are in the educational ecosystem as an educational leader or as a support aide, we appreciate you being here. We have a lot in store for the show. We have a live listener questions we'll be taking, as well as listener questions that have been submitted to us for the show. We also may have some goofy things to talk about, like the F1 race, what's in your refrigerator, and everything else. So stick with us. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, my name is Ray Heward. I have Brad Hughes here with us, and we have been doing a Sunday weekly warm-up every single week since the beginning of the school year. We are officially live on YouTube, and this show will be exclusive to YouTube the entire month of May before we take a quick break for the summer and come back here in August. Brad Hughes, happy Sunday. How you doing, buddy?
Happy Sunday to you, Ray, and welcome into our live exclusive YouTube streaming on the Teach Better YouTube channel here in the Sunday Weekly Warm-Up Space. Brian is with us tonight, and if you are joining us live, make sure you hit us up in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you're joining us from, what you're looking forward to most about your upcoming week, and maybe let us know what some highlights of your weekend. Like, speaking of weekend, Ray, how was yours? And tell me about some highlights.
We have so much to talk about, Brad. I told you when you logged on before we clicked the big red button that we were not allowed to talk shop before we went live because I have so many things in my head. And just as an FYI, these first few minutes are not going to be education related because we have to talk about some key topics. One of which I know some of you are not excited about, but I do see Brian here in the comments. Soccer, my team got hammered. I feel like we can't even discuss it. It was such a bad loss to Liverpool. The second is, Brad, there was an F1 race. And okay, no spoilers. Did you watch it?
Yes.
Okay. For those of you that have not watched it and don't want spoilers, I hate to tell you, but log off. Brad, can you believe Norris won?
An incredible victory for first-time Formula One champion Lando Norris from Team McLaren. Incredible weekend, and he had some real setbacks this weekend. Ray, he wasn't able to finish the sprint race, but he kept at it. They had a really well-tuned car. The team never gave up. His teammate Piastri also did well, but yeah, first-time Formula One champion for Lando Norris. Go McLaren.
I am so excited. I have to say, I know you are a Max fan, Red Bull. I'm not a Max fan, but it does get annoying when he wins everything. And I had to step away from the television. I would say it was a second safety car. It was into the race, but it wasn't quite the end. Norris was leading, and as I stepped away from the television, I was like, it's too bad that clearly Max will overtake and whatever. And then I looked it up 12 minutes later and he was still in the lead. And then I looked a few minutes later and there was 7 laps left. He was still in the lead. I was like, oh my God, this is the best exciting news.
He finished the race nearly 7 seconds ahead of world champion Max Verstappen, and who really he and his team didn't get the tuning just right on their Red Bull racer for the weekend in Miami. But what a spectacle! I love the Miami track. I love the Miami vibe. The weather is beautiful. The people are beautiful. The racers are beautiful. It's really a great celebration. And it's the third year that Formula One has visited Miami, and according to commentators on Sky Sports, which we watch here in Canada, they have something going good there in Miami.
Yeah, for those of you who are interested, I know Brad and I sometimes talk sports because over the weekend there's a lot going on, and Brad and I are like similar in the fact that we watch F1, which I know all of you are not necessarily into, but if you're in the US, it was on ABC and you can catch highlights over on YouTube. Even if you're not a fan of the sport, sometimes just looking up the highlights of any game. It's always fun to see the most exciting moments, and Norris winning for the first time was a huge deal. I saw the podium and I was like, I can't wait to celebrate with Brad.
We had an amazing F1 weekend here, Ray. In addition to watching the sprint quali and the sprint race and the race quali and then the race today, my wife Jennifer and I were in Toronto for the F1 Experience exhibition.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible! It's a traveling exhibition. It's visiting Toronto for a number of months, and so we had the opportunity to connect with racing fans from all over the place. A lot of interactive video, lots of learning. An F1 engine, 2 F1 cars, retrospective on safety and surviving some pretty incredible crashes. A wonderful celebration of F1 right here, just about an hour away from us here in Southern Ontario.
That's so exciting. Haven't ever been to an F1 race, have you?
No, not yet. Our closest F1 race is in Montreal. So the Montreal Grand Prix is something that's on our bucket list. We'd also love to see the US Grand Prix in Austin. And Vegas, baby. I've never been to Vegas, but that might be a great trip as well. Also, would love to go to the Monaco Grand Prix at some point, right?
Oh gosh, the Monaco Grand Prix, for those of you who are not F1 fans, is like going to see the best game with the best players in the best town, whatever that means for you. Monaco is like as OG fancy schmancy, a pinnacle of the sport as you can get. I know we'll get off this topic soon, but Brad, I have to say I've been talking to a few US fans of F1 that have been not necessarily like really pushing, but just inching my way to be like, how interested would some of my community, some of my friends be to go see a real F1 race? Like maybe not this year. It's a bucket list item, but who would be on the interested list? If you're somebody listening, I'd love to see the comments. Everyone, Brad says Vegas would be amazing. Austin would be amazing. Miami would be amazing. But everyone voted Montreal as the place to go. So I have to tell you, I know that people travel all over for these races. I think that would be the one I would try to go to as well.
I think it would be great to meet up in Montreal for the Grand Prix experience. Beautiful city, full of culture, European flair, of course, bilingual, anglais, français, and it's just a wonderful spot to spend a weekend, Ray. So, in addition to the great racing, checking out the old streets of Montreal and beautiful, vibrant city as well.
That's what everyone said. They said it would be the best trip that would encompass more than just the sporting event, of course, which is fun. I'd love to challenge our community here. We have some friends that are tuning into our new location here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the Teach Better team over on YouTube or wherever you're watching from right now. If you're live with us, we're exclusive to YouTube, but this will air on Monday to all our normal social media outlets so everybody can see it. I would love to have a few of you start us out by commenting a place you would love to travel to for vacation, because Montreal is one of them for me. If I gave you a check for however much money you feel like you need to travel somewhere that you really want to see, no money as an object, let us know in the comments where you'd like to be. Brad, obviously Montreal would be a fun place to go for F1. If you had no expense as a concern, where would be your dream vacation as an educator? Maybe we'd go over the summer so you're not missing any work. What would that be for you?
We'd love to start in Northern California, Ray. Check out San Francisco and Napa. Pixar Animation is in Northern California, as well as the Walt Disney Family Museum is there. We've had an awesome time in Southern California, so we'd start there, and then if we could find a way to Hawaii and check out Aulani in Hawaii. And then over to Japan, check out Tokyo Disney and check out all of the incredible sights and culture in and around Japan. I think that would be a great spot. If we were able to swing back through Australia as well, before we made our way back to California, then if money was no object, that would at least be a good place to start.
Yeah, money and time. That's beautiful. I love this plan, Brad. We are working with schools in Northern and Southern California. Maybe we should make this like semi a work trip for you. So you go to like the San Francisco area to work with some schools that just signed with us starting in August. And then you can kind of make a trip from there rather than just, that could be fun.
I think that will be an ideal work study plan, Ray. I'm always up for a trip to California, especially if it means I can connect with you and others in our Teach Better family and share some incredible learning along with our schools there.
Yeah, always so fun. I would love to travel with you for work too. That would be really exciting. Brad, the other thing I have a very serious question to you about has nothing to do with sports. I would love those of you in the comments to choose to participate with us. And if you have some friends, especially those that you usually find in our private Facebook group over at teachbettergroup.com, don't forget to tag them, go hunt them down, and bring them over to our YouTube live as this becomes our exclusive spot for the entire month. Brad, I need to talk to you about your refrigerator.
Okay.
What are typical non-negotiable things that somebody should have in their refrigerator? And I'm asking our community too. I'm talking like you move or you have a new refrigerator, it's completely empty. What are the top 5 non-negotiable things that should be in your refrigerator?
I'm going to start with milk. Milk comes to mind. Maybe some cold drinks, some soft drinks. So it can be a club soda, tonic water, cola, whatever you like. Maybe some butter or margarine. And I I think anything that's in your produce shelf there, Ray. Just to make sure you can make yourself a delicious, healthy salad. What's coming to mind for you?
You know, I have to tell you, this has been my struggle because I just moved into a new place. I kind of started fresh as far as the food inventory of my refrigerator. And I went typical eggs rather than milk. I went orange juice. I'm not really a
Yep.
milk consume. It's not that I'm not milk. I just don't have enough things I use milk for that's really a staple in my home. But something to drink for sure, orange juice and eggs. Margarine, I agree with you.
Yep.
The struggle that I got into is I got some things for the freezer, one of which were, I think they were like plant-based chicken nuggets. Like they were like things that you
Yeah.
throw in an fryer, let it go for 10 minutes and it'd be great. But I didn't have any condiments. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
you need
yeah.
like ketchup and mustard and relish, maybe
Yep.
something that you would. And now I'm finding all these things, and I'm like, oh, these are very assumed things you should have in your refrigerator. Then I'm missing out. Jam is a good one. Brian
Yep.
commented jam. I feel like that's one that you assume is in there, and then you open it up and you're like, wait, there's
Where's the
nothing.
jam?
Where's the jam? What happened?
I think what we can do, Ray, is we can work with Josh Stamper with our Teach Better swag store. And maybe we can have sort of a Teach Better refrigerator startup package. So, I mean, if we get our viewers to chime in here, and between the three of us, you, me, and Joshua, we could maybe have a Teach Better refrigerator startup package. Anyone who has a new home or a new appliance to fill up, they could order just one click and you can fill your refrigerator with all the Teach Better goodies you could like.
I think that's essential. Ice cream should be on the list. I
Yeah.
love ice cream. I do have ice cream. So I don't have mustard, but I have ice cream, which I guess is more important.
Ray, is
So
there something people might be surprised to find in your fridge, like a really unusual item, something that is there most of the time and you might be surprised to find is in Ray Hewert's fridge?
That's a great question. I have a possibly irresponsible obsession,
Okay.
with coconut.
Oh, yeah.
I love coconut milk. I
Yeah.
love slices of coconut. It's really hard to get. It's not easy in Chicago necessarily. And
Right.
I don't have a coconut tree in the front of my house, unfortunately, but I will say I have coconut milk and like chunks, like slices of coconut in my fridge. I guess that would be a little strange. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
anyone else listening has that. Do you have that in your fridge, Brad?
I have coconut to milk and I have coconut, cream of coconut for recipes and some cocktails as well. People might be surprised to learn, not that I have milk in my fridge, but how my milk is packaged. Our milk in Southern Ontario is packaged. Well, it can be in a carton, but ours is packaged in bags. Right? We have little bags of milk that fit in. Yes, bags of milk that slide into a plastic pitcher, and you snip off the top corner of the plastic bag and you pour the milk out.
Okay, I'm not saying that's not a great
Yeah.
idea. Maybe there's like a green reason for that. Why is that? Why?
I don't know. I don't know. Friends who have visited from the U.S. are really surprised to learn that bagged milk is a thing in this part of Ontario. I think it also may be a thing in provinces both to the east and west of us, but it's really an Eastern Canada kind of phenomenon. And I'm not really sure how it came to be in bags. Of course, there's the typical jugs of milk you can get in some corner stores, and of course the cartons of milk. But we get 4 liters of milk in 3 bags. So the bags are inside a bag. So picture, if you will, 3 clear plastic pouches of milk packaged in a large bag of milk that you pull out of the out of the cooler. And as I said, you bring it home, and Janelle's wondering, how do you pour it? So Janelle, we have a plastic pitcher. So you slide the milk bag into the plastic pitcher that is designed to hold these milk bags, and you snip off the top corner of the bag and you pour the jug. You pour the jug with the bag in it. So
I'm really hoping that this is like, I'm all about like save the environment. I don't care what the packaging is. I'm with it. Maybe this is more eco-friendly than the hard like gallons. I don't know, but it does seem weird that you transfer a plastic something to another plastic something. But you're right that yours has to seal in some way. You're not drinking this bag, the whole thing, when you open it, you know.
That's right. I'll if you're watching us live, you can see some pictures of the bagged milk here. So Ray, on the left of the screen, that's the large bags. And so in each of those bags, there is 3 small bags of milk. And then with the bagged milk, you can use a pitcher, and you put the bag in the pitcher, and then you snip off the corner. And actually, I need to dig in this because one of these articles asks, why do Canadians buy milk in bags? I have to dig into that. I don't know why that is the way it is, but yeah, packages upon maybe there's some kind of a deal between the dairy producers and plastic bag producers. They're in it together, right?
I would be very interested in this follow-up. You got to let us know in a future week of some of that stuff. You know, it's always interesting when you travel of the little things that are different. That's one I did not know, but I will take it. That's exciting.
Okay, there you go. Surprises in every fridge, I think, Ray.
So good. Friends, we have some listener questions for us. So we're going to transition, but don't worry if you're at your edge of your seat for this more information on these bags of milk. We will follow up. We promise. We'll be right back. Hey friends, thanks for sticking with us for our Sunday weekly warm-up. For those of you who are tuning in, it is also Teacher Appreciation Week, so we're going to highlight that before we transition too far into our listener questions. We'd love to hear in the comments what you are doing for Teacher Appreciation Week or how you may be celebrated this week. Brad, there's a lot of stuff that the Teach Better team is doing this week to celebrate educators in the Teach Better community. So for all of you listening, please make sure you follow the Teach Better team on social media and that you're on the email list so you get the stuff we want you to receive. But Brad, as a principal, let's start us off. Are you aware of any plans that are happening in your area for educators this week outside of the Teach Better team?
Typically, our district posts messages of recognition and messages of appreciation to different staff groups, including educators. Recently, it was Principals Appreciation Day, as well as for our admin assistants as well. So, yeah, typically our district, in addition to each school and each school leader, I hope, is finding ways on a daily basis to make sure that staff feel connected, appreciated, and supported. And then when we have a Teacher Appreciation Day or Teacher Appreciation Week, I love to make the rounds, and I just like to say, how would you like to be recognized? How can I support your work? What might lighten your load? What might brighten your day or your week? And really find out sort of what the list is that would help. I'm thinking of the right word, but the heart-led list of you go ahead. It's the love language. What the love languages of our educators might be, Ray.
I love that idea. Friends, if you are live here with us or even catching this after the fact, we would love to hear what maybe your dream list would be for Teacher Appreciation Week for yourself, and have them all be separate comments. We want to be able to see a scrolling list of, are you somebody that wants a physical item? Is there a candy bar you're dying for? A gift card you're really hoping for? I know so many of us are dying for those teacher mugs, but other things as well. Comments from a colleague that would mean a lot, or a member of your leadership team acknowledging you in some way. A high five is always a good one. Let us know what those are. I think sometimes it's really tricky for people to think about how they're going to celebrate their staff. And sometimes the first step is to reach out to your staff and say, hey, how do you like to be valued and shown appreciation? Brad, I know that there's so many different things that educators like. One of the things that we're doing here on the team specifically, we're doing lots of stuff, but one of them is that we're highlighting members of our team that have been in the teaching profession for many, many years, and the types of roles they had even prior to being a part of the Teach Better team. Brad, do you mind highlighting your background in education, where you started, and the teacher roles you've had thus far?
Absolutely. My first teaching position was in 1994, Ray, and over 16 years of teaching, I had the opportunity to teach all the grades from junior kindergarten, pre-K, to eighth grade in both English and French. Most of my teaching career was in French language, but I was able to achieve a dream position in as a visual arts teacher for seventh and eighth grade in my last 3.5 years of teaching. So my teaching world and my world as a school leader really come together in my delight and my just my passion for connecting with kids and young people. Just moments of conversation in the halls, and I'm really grateful that I spend my days with kids and adults that will tolerate my nonsense and roll their eyes, maybe appreciatively, but maybe here comes another one of those principal jokes. So we have a lot of fun together, but that's been the mainstay of my education career, is just my passion for and my delight in connecting with kids.
I love that, Brad. I think it's so important that we have a little reminder that while this might be a week celebrating you, this is also a week to celebrate the many, many other roles in education, many of which start out as classroom teachers and then change their role slowly. So as your principal celebrates you this week, as your superintendent celebrates you this week, as your director of curriculum or a coach you work with celebrate this week, do not forget that these are all people that more often than not come from the teaching profession. And it's amazing to learn about their role as well. Brad, similar to you, my role was working with a number of different things, but my favorite job, I think, was my middle school math and reading and writing position that I had. That was best job ever, working with students in that middle school setting. They're smelly, they're sarcastic. Math was always a struggle. Everyone walked in hating it, and I loved teaching a content area that we could work through together. And then I love teaching writing as well, working with students to really allow themselves to express themselves and create wonderful new things. So fun to have that teaching experience and so many things to celebrate there.
It sounds like the classroom environments that each of us strive to create, Ray, was around that community of learners where kids were looking forward to and excited about joining you in that space. And I had the privilege of teaching visual art, and for our seventh and eighth graders, using visual arts and not only understanding the arts, but creation as a path to expression, as a path to reflection, as a path to knowing oneself better, and realizing we can communicate and contribute in so many ways, not necessarily in the language arts or in mathematics or science and the sort of the traditional school subjects, but a place for all was what I strived to provide for each kid that came in, and the studio space was amazing. And I see a lot of parallels, and I'm thinking of pictures of your middle school classroom, Ray, where students were striving to achieve and to teach further in coming together in groups to facilitate some real world projects.
Yeah, Brad, there's so many things we could connect here, but one element I would love to challenge our teaching community that usually tunes in for our Sunday weekly warm up is that we have the power to make Teacher Appreciation Week more spectacular than whatever is planned for us. I think sometimes this week can be slightly disappointing. You wish that certain members of your community or staff made this event even bigger than maybe they were able to or were able to give focus to. Don't forget that we all have a hand in the culture as well. And if you are in any way able between Monday through Friday to take a little bit of time for your students to take a brain break or step away from the content to make cards or special notes for staff, to hang specific things in the hallways, whatever that looks like for you, it does not need to cost you money. But just don't forget that Teacher Appreciation Week can be teacher to teacher as well. And we have the power to celebrate each other.
Such a great point. Looking out for each other in our school communities is essential. And if you're always on the lookout for a way to make sure that people are recognized, never letting anyone pass by unacknowledged, Ray, whether it's a good morning or how are you, how can I support your work, but knowing that others are there for you and along with you in some of the trials and tribulations, but also the celebrations that mark the life of educators. This is a key opportunity to do just that.
Also a great week to not forget about the teachers that are serving you in a different way. As many of you already are aware, you are a teacher in the classroom doing great things. But remember, if you have children or cousins or nieces or nephews that are also being served by teachers, this is the time that you can share teacher to teacher appreciation for those people as well, even if they're not in your grade level or school building. Don't forget to share that appreciation. Brad, there's so many good things to celebrate here for Teacher Appreciation Week. So I'm excited to see all the things coming out, especially by the Teach Better team. Don't forget to follow the Teach Better team on all social media platforms you tune into and sign up for the email list over on our homepage. I don't want you to miss any of the fun.
So much goodness. Just go to teachbetter.com, find out how to stay connected, and let us fill your inbox with inspiration and take advantage of all the things that Teach Better has to offer.
So good. Brad, we have some listener questions. I know we're going to run short on time here. I would love to do one specifically. In this email that we got, we just had the nicest beginning. I mean, this educator who wrote in, shared their appreciation for the podcast. They tune in. This specific educator says that they always catch the recap, so they're listening to it Monday morning. So shout out to those of you who are maybe catching this not live, but still partaking in the fun of our Sunday weekly warm up to set you up for your week ahead. This one specifically talks about creating a positive environment where technology is enhancing the instruction and not a distraction. And I think we've talked about this a few different times on this show and also the Teach Better Today morning show, which is a weekly show that streams on Monday through Friday every single week. But when it comes to technology, it comes to the end of the year, Brad, I think this is an important time to note that this is the time to play a little bit with technology. Maybe you have the standardized testing out of the way, trying to finish up the year. This could be a really good time to be very intentional with the technology that we're bringing in so it can enhance your practices. What are your thoughts on this topic?
One thing that comes to mind, Ray, whether it's for student creations or class creations or school celebration creations, it's using technology to curate the learning, to celebrate, whether it's through audio, video, photos, work samples, just an opportunity to reflect on the learning, reflect on the great times that kids, schools, classes are having. And it could be to create a year in review for a particular class or grade. It could be to create student portfolios. It could also be to help welcome, say, third graders who are approaching fourth grade. Here are the things you need to know about our classroom. Things we wish we'd known about fourth grade before we got started. Just sort of a retrospective, integrating the technology through that. So what do you think, and what's coming to mind for you?
I love that idea. I think that's a really great start as you are diving into May. Whether you have 2 weeks left in the year or 6, this is a great time to allow your students to be reflective with technology. I also think as you lean on technology to continue to find maybe some misunderstandings or assumptions you may have as a teacher and use this time to test those out. I have a lot of educators that we've been working with on the various schools that we work with here on the team that very commonly, and I'm saying this as a perfect example of what we're going to get to, but very commonly say, well, my students can't do that. My students can't handle that. My students would never be able to be able to follow those directions or do that responsibly. And I think this is a really beautiful time in the year to say, sure, maybe, but is there any way for us to rethink how we're giving directions or rethink how we're using a tool and just test the waters? I think educators often make these assumptions because we are so prone to needing things to go smoothly. We're under a crunch. We have a lot of hats we wear. I think this would be a beautiful time to say, I've always assumed that my students couldn't handle XYZ. They wouldn't be responsible enough to do that. Maybe there's a way for us to explore how we introduce this idea or how we introduce the technology that does allow that to be an appropriate step to try out in May. I don't know.
I wonder too, Ray, in terms of just giving it a try, giving it a go, if it might be a really helpful or even needed antidote to classroom, school, community stresses around standardized testing, where the high stakes environment and the desire to achieve we need to continue to reframe that in our learning organizations as learning as it's iterative. We continue to learn and grow. Well, teach better. You better today and better tomorrow. So I'd love to know your thoughts on that, using technology and that spirit of let's give it a go and see what we learn and take the next step forward.
Give it a go is great. And think about what success looks like. I think sometimes we are very black and white on what success looks like. And then there's all this gray area for what failure looks like. And sometimes we need to find a little bit more intentionality to say, success isn't just a one fit all answer. Success kind of looks like this big chunk, and failure looks like this identified area. And that way, when you try something, you can see the positives in this experimental process. So excited for you all to look into it. I know many of you have great end of the year plans for your students. So lots to celebrate there, Brad.
Thanks, Ray.
I think we should get into our Sunday Spark before we wrap up the show. So we will be right back. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with us here on the Sunday Weekly Warm-Up. We are currently streaming exclusive to YouTube, but don't forget the day after, just 24 hours later, we stream on all social media platforms for the Teach Better team. This also becomes an episode of Teach Better Talk podcast, so you can tune into all the conversations. We appreciate you all here always, but don't forget we especially very much love when you interact with us live, and we will be live for the rest of the month of May before we take our summer break. Brad, we are here for our Sunday Spark, which is typically good news, things that we can think about, exciting, happy feelings. Where are we at?
Ray, I didn't know that our Sunday Spark story was going to connect to so many aspects of our conversation, particularly refrigerators and food, beautiful weather and celebrations. Ray, I'm thinking maybe a picnic might be in order. What are your thoughts on picnics? Have you had a picnic recently? And does the idea of a picnic en plein air just kind of light you up?
Sign me up for a picnic, of course. If it's good weather outside, that's a great excuse to be outside as long as possible.
Ray, I think that our work study journeys need to take us to Paris, France, where if you're joining us live, you can see that Paris will soon host the world's largest picnic on the Champs-Élysées. And with the world's largest and hopefully record-breaking picnic blanket, Ray, Le Pique-Nique from the Arc de Triomphe to the intersection of Avenue Georges V, 9 ephemeral kitchens will get together to punctuate a journey along the famous Champs-Élysées for a gastronomic picnic this spring on the largest picnic blanket in the world, May 26th of this year. 4,000 lucky tourists, and I think the two of us could be two of them, will have the opportunity to gather around a giant traditional red and white checkered picnic rug to sample Parisian cuisine. And it's hoped that this will be a record-breaking event, the world's largest picnic blanket in beautiful Paris. What do you think, Ray?
Oh my gosh, amazing. Have you ever been to this area of Paris?
I have. It's been a number of years. I went as a young adult, but very fortunate to have visited and seen the Champs-Élysées, the Arc de Triomphe, and even had a couple of stops at some really lovely Paris restaurants and cafes. But this celebration along the world famous Champs-Élysées sounds like a not to be missed opportunity. I wish more than 4,000 of our citizens could go.
Yeah, no kidding. I would love to go. I was just there last year, and this is an enormous like piece of property. This is an enormous street that they're taking up. It does not surprise me at all that this would have to be the largest picnic blanket, because I'm just picturing walking down this space, and the size is enormous. So the pictures from this, I cannot wait to see. That's a great feel good story, and something I have to say, Brad, that I would love to bring to students this week as a topic of discussion, because it would really take a creative mind to say, I want to go to one of the most famous streets in the world and have a picnic. I think this would be this kind of feels like an elementary or middle school idea that someone would say. It's almost like a little foolish. It's a very like quixotic concept. I love this, and I love that they're making this happen just a few weeks away.
My thoughts too, Ray, especially as our thoughts turn to maybe some year-end celebrations for our class or for our school community. How might we infuse that with an element of surprise, of thinking big, just some kind of a surprise element? Quixotic is perfect. Just that sense of playfulness and that sense of wow, just that sense of awe that you can bring to an event. Just a small little twist to something. It could be a community picnic that's never done a community picnic before. It could be inviting your students to eat outside on the grass together, as opposed to maybe in a cafeteria or in a classroom. Just
Yeah.
look for the sense of play. Look for those opportunities to bring a little bit of surprise into your celebrations, Ray.
Yeah, even something tiny, Brad. Like every single student gets like a paper towel, and they get to color on it and make their own picnic table, and then
Oh,
that's what they bring outside as their napkin. I don't know, something. Sometimes it's fun to have those really strange ideas that are a little creative that we can all buy into. So excited to see what you guys do with this, Brad. Thanks so much for grabbing that story.
of
And
course.
thanks so much for joining us on our Sunday weekly warm up exclusive to YouTube all through the month of May. Brad, this was a great time.
Ray, it's always great to share wonderful ideas and get everyone ready for a fantastic week ahead in education. And, when it comes to great ideas, Ray, I think it's important that we milk it for all we're worth.
Love it. Milk it for all it's worth. See you guys later.